So picking up from where, first of all, I'd like to commend Sarita and NCX. This is definitely one of the more innovative initiatives we have seen for the last mile reach in recent times. So what I would like to do now is, Sarita spoke specifically about how to reach farmer base. Now I want to take a little bit broader perspective and talk about what are the other challenges in last mile distribution. And this applies, I've tried to take a perspective where we can talk about, consumer products, be it, consumer products or farmer inputs, everything together. So Sarita really spoke about a challenge from what a corporate faces, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about the consultant's perspective here. So we are currently supporting some of the best projects where we come across this challenge over and over again, where corporates have a great product and they just don't know how to, get it to their consumer base. Now, what goes into this decision making, and what is it that's important for a corporate to know when picking out channels to partner with? So some of the questions some of the design issues that we run into are typically, what is the channel control that corporate wants to exercise? And when I talk about channel control, I mean that do they want to own the whole channel, which means from distributor to retailer to the consumer, or do they want to use a common channel? So there are a lot of channels that are pre-existing in the market. So that's one of the key questions. So that really question takes back to the answer to that question typically lies in what kind of investment the corporate wants to make in the channel. That's one. The other issue that we run into typically is the type of product that the corporate is trying to, get to the market. So if you look at a consumer, so that's where we ask them to look at a needs hierarchy in a consumer pyramid. So if the need is very high, then it's better to use a dedicated channel. If the need is low, then you could probably use common channels. So these are some of the key questions. But what I'll do is I'll take you to a framework. This is how we typically think about the last mile distribution challenge. So you see 4 quadrants here. One is product type. It's a product high involvement or a low involvement product. What is a high involvement product are typically products that impact the income of the consumer directly. So for instance, an agri input. So if you are selling seeds or fertilizers, then that is a high impact product, right? It's a high involvement product. What is a low involvement product? Typically are shampoos and conditioners and soaps. People don't have to think too much to make these purchases. So that's the high involvement and low involvement. And when you think about channel control, this is the control that a corporate wants to exercise on the channel. So there are high channel controls and low channel controls. So to explain this a little bit more, let's just look at the first quadrant for a second. So if you look at first quadrant, the channel control is low, exercised by a corporate, but the product is very high involvement. Here, product is typically, you will find, is of high value. It impacts household income. So this could be an example where they are trying to push in seed or a fertilizer or a pesticide through this channel. Corporate is typically here looking for lower time to market. They want to get faster to the market. They typically have limited competency in BOP distribution. So this is a new market. They don't understand this market very well. And at the same time, they're constrained by the investment budget and yet want to exercise this channel. So typically, and they want to keep the transaction cost very low. That is when people use this, this first quadrant. Move over to the second quadrant. There are products that are low involvement and the channel control is also low. There the product is typically low value. Consumers are aware of the product usage. So this is where your soaps and shampoos would come into picture. And corporate is typically here looking for a complementary distribution channel. So this is not their primary channel. They also get to the same market through retailers and other networks. So this is typically a complementary channel that they're looking for. They again have a limited investment budget. And products are typically commodity, consumer good products. Then coming to the high involvement and high channel control. This is where NCX is, I believe, because they are giving something which is a very high involvement, impacts the livelihood of the farmer. And NCX wants to exercise full channel control here. So what they have done is they have set up the whole channel themselves, including the brick and mortar structure. So this is a typical example of what NCX is doing. And there are other initiatives in the market. And if you go, and I won't speak much about this because Sarita explained it very well. And when you go to low involvement and high channel controls, This is where the product is typically low value. It's not a very high value product, but corporate wants that intimacy with the consumer. It's trying to expand into newer markets and geographies. And emphasis is more on the, generating entrepreneurial activity in BOP. So to make a little bit, to explain some of these examples, I will not get into NCX obviously, but I'll take you through Velcro, for instance. So first of all, let's talk about Hindustan Liver Shakti Amma model. This is where a corporate has now, we all are aware of HUL and mainly the product that they are pushing through this channel. It's called Pureit. It's a water purification device. So this is a typical example where HUL came in and set up a whole ecosystem. So this channel actually directly feeds into their top line. So they are creating they have created employment opportunities. They have created financing mechanisms to finance the products that they want BOP to access. So they have created a very wonderful ecosystem, I believe, here. So this is, and they own the channel completely. So they started off with Pureit, and today Unilever is using this to push other products through the same channel, the ecosystem that they have created. And this is one of the most success stories that we see in the sector. So this is a great example of how high channel control, low involvement. Moving on to Sakhi Retail Private Limited. Now this is another example where, now this is not a high channel control for corporate. They don't own the channel. Typically, there is a body that's set up. And multiple corporates are trying to use the same channel to push their product into the market. So this is an example of low channel control and low involvement, right? So transaction cost for a corporate typically to use these kind of channels is very low, because all the marketing activities and all that, the cost of that is borne by the Sakhis here in this case. And if any of you have questions, happy to answer it later. So, so that's one of the examples of low channel control. And moving on to will grow, this is kind of very interesting because these are the retail outlet stores that Willgrow went and opened. This has been used mostly, the reason I take this example is because this has been used as test bed for a lot of products. So if there are social enterprises that have innovative products and want a greater reach into the market but don't know how to reach that, this is the platform. Willgrow typically incubates also social enterprises. So they have provided that platform which innovative products, it's a test bed for products. So it's something again, very innovative that we have seen in the market recently. So typically the products that Willgrow is selling today are mostly around agri inputs. They are not very big today, so some of you may not have heard about it. But at the same time, it's a very interesting model that they have set up, which they plan to expand very rapidly. So, so those are some of the examples that I wanted to run you through on a couple of other models that we have seen. So if I really quickly wanted to wrap up, what I would say is that there is no one-size-fits-all here, obviously. It really depends on the need hierarchy. It really depends on the product, the level of investment that a corporate wants to make, the channel control that it's looking for. So there are several factors, and the 2x2 matrix that I was presented just now is a little bit of a simplistic way of looking at it. There are multiple angles to this issue, but that's definitely one way that we have seen that you can, kind of understand where to position and which channel to go with. So those were some of the things that